So what I'm going to do right now is show you how to make pizza the way I make it. This has worked out pretty well. Developed this during the COVID pandemic. One thing I always do is I start first with water. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the water in, not the flour in. So I've got 2 cups, 500 grams of water if you want to go metric, but we're going to go with 2 cups of water. This is fairly hot tap water. I'm going to use is 2 tablespoons of yeast here. This is Mr. Brown's yeast. This is what we get here in Germany. Typically buy this online. So any product endorsements, I'd be willing to take those for Mr. Brown. Though I am keeping an old Fleischmann's jar. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of yeast. So we're going very heavy on the yeast in this recipe. So that's 2 cups of pretty hot tap water. And then you take a trusty, I could use a whisk, I'm not gonna use a whisk. I'm gonna use a spoon. Get this mixed all around. Hopefully I won't make a mess, I usually do. This has definitely been a hit with the family and with the dogs too. Big fans of the pizza. I don't know, the dog will probably show up at some point. And very important, I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of sugar to feed the yeast. Give it a good stir. I'm gonna let that sit for about 5 minutes and let the yeast do its thing. So that yeast has had just enough time here to get some action going here. This is leftover from the dollar store here. So, I don't know, someone's gonna tell me I'm killing myself with the plastic. So, if I can get maybe a better mixing bowl, but this has been working pretty well for the moment. So I've got 2 cups of flour, which you're gonna dump in. So we got 2 cups of water, 2 cups of flour. Put that in. And then I'm gonna take extra virgin olive oil. We're gonna give 3 decent pours. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm gonna mix it with a spoon. Careful to not have it fly all over the kitchen, which it usually does. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this, so this is turning into something that looks almost akin to a pancake batter. And I'm gonna stir this and stir it and stir it until it starts to actually thicken up. The consistency will start to thicken a bit. I'm gonna add another cup. So we're gonna go with 3 cups of flour in here. This is 2 cups. Well, we're just gonna put about 1 cup in here from this. Here we go. 1 cup. Continue to give that a good stir. I'm gonna take roughly a tablespoon of salt. Frankly, it's just gonna go in my hand. Probably a little less than a tablespoon. About that much salt. See that? Don't want to do too much because it will kill the yeast. And then we won't have this nice, puffy, beautiful crust. And with the pizza, I swear to God, it's all about the crust. So with that complete right there, this is just gonna sit here for about a couple hours. This is what the dough looks like right now. And so we're gonna let that set for a couple hours. We'll come back and you'll see how many more bubbles it has. You can just see how much this dough has risen. And so this essentially is, well, what I call, it's a pre-ferment. And so this is gonna enable us to go ahead, make the dough. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of the flour. So this is already 3 cups of flour and 2 cups of warm water with yeast. So what I'm gonna do now with the dough is I'm gonna add in this 4th cup of flour. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add baking powder, which I'm sure not supposed to do, but guess what? It works out really well. So you just gotta believe in the process. Toss that in there. And that's gonna give us a very nice, soft dough. And add that 4th cup. Get back to our trusty wooden spoon. Slow turning. And I'm gonna do this quite a bit. Okay. Now, I have 4 cups of flour here, going into 2 cups of water. This is not exactly the wettest pizza dough recipe you're gonna see. This is probably gonna need about another cup of flour. This is from the local grocery store here at Uneaten Everyday Flour. And that is essentially, it's very basic flour. So it's not a special pizza. It's just basically German all-purpose flour. I'm just gonna go in and use my hands. So pizza night is definitely favorite with the kids. That's favorite with our 2 Kellogg's. I'm gonna start adding a little more olive oil. Remember we did those 3 pours to start with? Well, now we're gonna get a little more creative. Nice little drizzle there across that. I'm glad I'm living. Take my troubles all with a smile. Just because my color's shady, different baby, that's why they call me Shine. Here comes the 5th cup. It's almost all gone. I'm gonna cover that again. So at this point, the dough is essentially ready to rise. I'm gonna let this rise typically for about an hour. I go with 200 grams on each of the dough balls. We're gonna start making our pizza balls. I'm going to measure 200 grams for each pizza ball. And so doughs come along nicely. It's a good looking ball. I cannot eyeball these things to save my life, which is why I use a scale. Be a little bit over. I find 200 grams is just about perfect for a single serving pizza. I mean, not if somebody's a competitive eater. If somebody's really hungry, they can have 1.5. Potentially have 2 if they were really hungry. But 200 grams I find is about 205. Good enough. Close enough for government work, as I like to say. And as I mentioned, I'm here in Germany. As you can probably hear, I'm not German. And I am fortunate enough to work at the United States Embassy. And that has been a really great honor, along with, well, having been a soldier for a very long time. Oh man, nailed it. Work these into these beautiful, beautiful dough balls. And with this, every time I make pizza, I've got about this much left over. Keep this refrigerated. It's good for a week or so. This is a really good consistency. And frankly, it's gonna taste better after about a day. We're gonna get these pressed into some pies here, and we're gonna start getting them in the oven. Not saying you gotta use these, but man, this makes things a lot easier. I always use parchment paper. Let's go here with the first pizza. And so sometimes I will use a rolling pin. And oh, look at this. I still have that remnants of a 5th cup of flour. Look at that. Light dusting here. And the reason being is that I really don't want this to stick. I have a rolling pin. And so I know this is probably sacrilege for anyone that's a
serious pizza artisan, but this actually does help get a little evened out. And we've got, you can see this, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of good bubbles going on here in this crust. One other thing that I've got going on here, oven's preheating, and so this oven doesn't go particularly hot. It goes up to 250 degrees Celsius. But the big thing is that when I'm lucky enough, I have a convection oven. That really gives the absolute best results. I'm gonna keep stretching this. Just gently stretch this, not tossing it. Not quite that talented. The European Union came up with standards for a pizza, so that they have to be round. Sometimes I make them not round. I think just to be a little more rebellious. Let's have an egg-shaped pizza. And then for sauce, look at this. I'll take an endorsement. I have actually just used plain old tomato sauce, just unseasoned. I actually find the Barilla works pretty well, and the reason being is that whenever I use the tomato sauce, it comes in such large jars that as I use it, it will, I mean, and I think this is the difference between living in Europe and living in the States. The tomato sauce in the fridge will get moldy very quickly. And so the prepared pasta sauce works pretty well. And like I said, the secret is in the dough. And that's what's gonna give us really these best results. I use shredded cheese, but it makes a very good pizza. And so this is gonna be for somebody in the family here that just wants, believe it or not, cheese and onion. And so that's what it's going to be. Don't use an excessive amount of cheese. That will cook up quite nicely. I actually have a small pizza paddle. Sometimes I just pull the parchment paper. So the other thing too I can show is with this oven here, I pulled out the oven racks and I have a pizza stone. So I've got a pizza stone on the bottom, and frankly, that does make all the difference in the world. I'm just gonna do it on the parchment paper. So just like this here, this pizza's been in the oven for not even 30 seconds, but you can already see the dough is rising, and there's already starting to be, it's gonna bubble up. You can just see how quickly it's changing right now. And a lot of it has to do with a pretty high amount of yeast in this, and the additional leavening agent with the baking powder. This is pretty close to done, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to yank out, not burning myself, that parchment paper, and that's going to help that pizza get nice and done on the bottom. I'm going to take this pizza out. So this is the result. You can go with a little bit less time if you're looking for a less well-done crust. But I'm gonna let that cool before I slice it, otherwise it's kind of messy. All right, so I'm gonna work the next pie. Same thing, just gradually stretch this dough out. Might use the rolling pin just a little bit, just to try to make sure that I don't have it massively uneven. But what I don't wanna do is I don't wanna squeeze out the air bubbles. Because the air bubbles are what is going to make this pizza crust delicious. And frankly, pizza is pretty much, well, it's a crust with toppings. And you want to make sure that it's delicious with something on top. This is a wonderful time of the year. It's getting warm here in Germany. And it's not really crazy hot either, because then nobody wants me to cook pizza because it gets too hot in the kitchen. So same thing here. We're gonna go with onions on first. Onions under the cheese, onions over the cheese. I guess, is there a right or wrong answer? I'm not sure. And then what I love is mushrooms. Lots of mushrooms. We're gonna use that technique again here. And so in it goes into the oven. Set a timer for 4 minutes. Go with 4 minutes, and then we'll see how that turns out. So here are the #1 pizza fans in the house. Heidi, we can't forget Miles. Miles. Because they know something's up, and they know tonight is pizza night. What do you get on pizza night? Miles, do you know what night tonight is? Miles? I think Miles does know, but you guys are the #1 pizza fans. Did you know that? The #1 pizza fans. We got 4 minutes on this pizza, and then we'll see what's going on with that. For serving pizza, one of the things I like to do is I go with pre-cut. So you can see that. Now, I'll let that rest a little bit before I cut it. This is the best part of the meal. Miles? Do you want pizza? Miles is eating trash, which doesn't speak for his discerning taste. But Heidi still gets some pizza. You want Heidi? You want a taste? Mm-hmm. Oh, what a good girl. Heidi knows how to floss. Okay, gentle. Oh, what a good girl. And Miles just decided there's something that tastes better than trash. Yes. Miles, do you know how to floss? Oh, what a good dog. Can you be gentle? Yes, you can. All right, guys, that's it. No more. That's really it. There's nothing else. Sorry. It's okay. Miles found some garbage. It's actually recyclable.